Welcome to English Practice Everyday. Synonyms can be tricky. You might understand their meanings but still struggle to use them in the right context. In this video, we'll explore how to use these 10 synonyms for the word confuse as a verb in their proper contexts. We will practice them with simple example sentences that reflect everyday situations. After the practice, we'll read aloud a short story that uses all these synonyms in their proper context, helping us understand them better. Let's start. Please speak out loud with me as we practice. Confuse. Confuse. In the proper context, confuse is the most general term for making someone unsure or unable to understand something. Confuse is the most general term for making someone unsure or unable to understand something. The instructions confused me. The instructions confused me. The map confused the tourists. The map confused the tourists. His response confused everyone. His response confused everyone. The new software update confused the users. The new software update confused the users. The similar-looking twins often confuse their teachers. The similar-looking twins often confuse their teachers. Bewilder. Bewilder. In a proper context, bewilder means to cause someone to feel completely confused or lost, often due to complexity. Bewilder means to cause someone to feel completely confused or lost, often due to complexity. The maze bewildered the children. The maze bewildered the children. Tom's strange behavior bewildered his friends. Tom's strange behavior bewildered his friends. The sudden turn of events bewildered the audience. The sudden turn of events bewildered the audience. Ivy was bewildered by the complicated math problem. Ivy was bewildered by the complicated math problem. The conflicting advice from experts bewildered the new parents. The conflicting advice from experts bewildered the new parents. Baffle. Baffle. In a proper context, baffle means to confuse someone so much that they cannot understand or explain something. Baffle means to confuse someone so much that they cannot understand or explain something. The magician's trick baffled the audience. The magician's trick baffled the audience. The strange noise in the attic baffled the family. The strange noise in the attic baffled the family. Sam's sudden resignation baffled his colleagues. Sam's sudden resignation baffled his colleagues. The detective was baffled by the missing evidence. The detective was baffled by the missing evidence. The results of the experiment baffled the scientists. The results of the experiment baffled the scientists. Perplex. Perplex. In a proper context, perplex means to confuse someone by being complicated or difficult to understand. Perplex means to confuse someone by being complicated or difficult to understand. Eve's unexpected reaction perplexed Paul. Eve's unexpected reaction perplexed Paul. The difficult question perplexed the students. The difficult question perplexed the students. His sudden disappearance perplexed everyone. His sudden disappearance perplexed everyone. The legal document perplexed the new employee. The legal document perplexed the new employee. The sudden change in weather perplexed the farmers. The sudden change in weather perplexed the farmers. Mystify. Mystify. In a proper context, mystify means to confuse someone by being mysterious or hard to explain. Mystify means to confuse someone by being mysterious or hard to explain. The magician's trick mystified the audience. The magician's trick mystified the audience. The illusionist's performance mystified the crowd. The illusionist's performance mystified the crowd. The strange lights in the sky mystified the villagers. The strange lights in the sky mystified the villagers. The sudden improvement in my grades mystified my teachers. The sudden improvement in my grades mystified my teachers. The disappearance of the ancient civilization mystified historians. The disappearance of the ancient civilization mystified historians. Confound. Confound. In a proper context, confound means to confuse someone by going against their expectations. Confound means to confuse someone by going against their expectations. The erratic weather confounded the farmers. The erratic weather confounded the farmers. The child's clever response confounded the teacher. The child's clever response confounded the teacher. The unexpected results confounded the researchers. The unexpected results confounded the researchers. The sudden change in policy confounded the employees. The sudden change in policy confounded the employees. The complexity of the legal document confounded the jury. The complexity of the legal document confounded the jury. Flummox. Flummox. In a proper context, flummox means to confuse someone completely, often in a humorous or informal way. Flummox means to confuse someone completely, often in a humorous or informal way. The foreign language flummoxed the tourists. The foreign language flummoxed the tourists. The new software flummoxed the employees. The new software flummoxed the employees. The tricky question flummoxed the contestant. The tricky question flummoxed the contestant. The sudden rule change flummoxed the players. The sudden rule change flummoxed the players. The unexpected plot twist flummoxed the audience. The unexpected plot twist flummoxed the audience. Dumbfound. Dumbfound. Dumbfound in a proper context means to confuse someone so much that they are temporarily speechless. Dumbfound means to confuse someone so much that they are temporarily speechless. The news of his promotion dumbfounded him. The news of his promotion dumbfounded him. Her incredible talent dumbfounded the judges. Her incredible talent dumbfounded the judges. The unexpected gift dumbfounded the recipient. The unexpected gift dumbfounded the recipient. The magician's trick dumbfounded the spectators. The magician's trick dumbfounded the spectators. The sudden appearance of the deer dumbfounded the hikers. The sudden appearance of the deer dumbfounded the hikers. Puzzle. Puzzle. In a proper context, puzzle means to confuse someone by being difficult to understand or solve. Puzzle means to confuse someone by being difficult to understand or solve. The missing key puzzled the entire team. The missing key puzzled the entire team. The complex problem puzzled the scientists. The complex problem puzzled the scientists. The strange message puzzled the detectives. The strange message puzzled the detectives. The ancient artifact puzzled the archaeologists. The ancient artifact puzzled the archaeologists. The sudden change in her attitude puzzled everyone. The sudden change in her attitude puzzled everyone. Disorient. Disorient. In a proper context, disorient means to confuse someone by causing them to lose their sense of direction or understanding. Disorient means to confuse someone by causing them to lose their sense of direction or understanding. The medication disoriented him. The medication disoriented him. The loud noise disoriented the birds. The loud noise disoriented the birds. The darkness disoriented the hikers. The darkness disoriented the hikers. The dark room disoriented the guests. The dark room disoriented the guests. The winding streets disoriented the tourists. The winding streets disoriented the tourists. Bemuse. Bemuse. In a proper context, bemuse means to confuse someone in a way that is amusing or entertaining. Bemuse means to confuse someone in a way that is amusing or entertaining. The cat's antics bemuse the children. The cat's antics bemuse the children. His strange joke bemused the audience. His strange joke bemused the audience. The old man's riddle bemused the children. The old man's riddle bemused the children. Her playful teasing bemused her co-workers. Her playful teasing bemused her co-workers. The strange artwork bemused the gallery visitors. The strange artwork bemused the gallery visitors. I hope the contextual use of all these synonyms is clear to you. Let's now read a short story that uses all these words in their proper context. Title of the story: The Mystery of Blackwood Manor. James Thornton had always been fascinated by unsolved mysteries, but nothing prepared him for the bewildering events that awaited him at Blackwood Manor. As an investigative journalist, he prided himself on uncovering the truth. However, this case would prove to be the most perplexing of his career. The moment he stepped through the iron gates, the grand but decaying mansion seemed to whisper secrets through the rustling leaves. He had read about the strange occurrences, objects moving on their own, eerie lights flickering in the windows, and a legend of a hidden treasure that had confounded treasure hunters for decades. Determined to solve the mystery, he walked up to the heavy wooden doors and knocked. An elderly butler, Mr. Grayson, greeted him. "You must be Mr. Thornton. The master is expecting you." James frowned. "The master? I was told this place had been abandoned." Mr. Grayson's knowing smile only mystified him further. "Come inside, sir. You will soon understand." As James stepped in, a chill ran down his spine. The flickering candlelight cast long shadows that danced on the ancient walls. A grand portrait of Lord Blackwood, the original owner, stared down at him with piercing eyes. Something about the painting baffled him. Was it the way the eyes seemed to follow him, or the fact that he had seen that face before? He shook off the thought and focused on the task at hand. He was led into a dimly lit study where an old man sat behind a large mahogany desk. "Mr. Thornton, I assume you are here about the legend," the man said in a deep, raspy voice. "Yes," James replied, pulling out his notepad. "But I admit many of the accounts I have read contradict one another, which only serves to confuse me further." The old man chuckled. "That's because Blackwood Manor does not give up its secrets easily." Just then, the chandelier flickered, casting strange shadows. James glanced around, noticing that the bookshelves held numerous locks, as if they were hiding something. One book in particular, a thick leather-bound volume, caught his eye. He reached for it, but as he pulled it from the shelf, a hidden compartment opened with a creaking sound. Inside, a rolled-up parchment lay untouched by time. He carefully unrolled it and found himself staring at a cryptic map with symbols that perplexed him. "What does this mean?" he murmured. The old man leaned forward. "That, my dear journalist, is the path to the treasure. But beware, it has flummoxed many before you." Determined, James studied the map, but its winding paths and riddles only served to puzzle him further. "This doesn't make sense," he muttered. "Why would someone create such an elaborate maze?" "The Blackwoods were known for their eccentricity," Mr. Grayson interjected, "and they enjoyed leaving clues that would bemuse anyone who tried to solve them." As James traced the lines with his fingers, he noticed something odd. Some of the symbols matched the carvings on the fireplace mantel. He walked over and pressed one. The wall behind the fireplace groaned and slid open, revealing a hidden staircase leading down into darkness. The descent was disorienting. The deeper he went, the more the air grew thick with dust and mystery. His flashlight flickered as he reached the bottom, revealing a large underground chamber lined with ancient artifacts. But one thing stood out, a pedestal in the center, upon which rested an ornate chest. He approached cautiously, heart pounding. As he reached for the chest, a sudden gust of wind blew through the chamber, extinguishing his flashlight. In the pitch-black darkness, a whisper echoed, sending chills down his spine. When the lights flickered back on, James found himself alone. The old man and Mr. Grayson had vanished. He turned back to the chest and opened it, only to be dumbfounded by what lay inside. A single handwritten note. "The greatest treasure is knowledge." James exhaled, both exasperated and awed. He had expected gold and jewels, but instead he had uncovered something far more valuable. A story that would bewilder, mystify, and confound readers for generations to come. End of story. That's all for this synonyms in context practice session. Please try to use these synonyms in their proper context in your speech over the next few days to enhance your understanding of them. Bye for now.